Can you hear me? Hello? Okay, great. I think I was talking. I had my mic muted here. I was talking the whole time. Did you hear me before that? Oh, okay. Sorry, I forgot to unmute my mic. Yeah, I was just saying that it got started a little late. I had logged in here, and then I had I had a guest kind of show up at my door, so I had to lock the meeting. So I apologize if you're trying to get in. Hi, Marla. Welcome, you guys. Good to see you guys. Yeah, so it was one of those weird things that happened. So you guys, this is the last live lecture for this class. Can you believe it? Oh, okay. Yeah, I was, like I said, I was unable to, I was running around trying to get stuff kind of, I have actually, this is what's going on. I share custody with my ex-husband, and they just showed up a little late to pick her up. So it was kind of a last minute type thing. Oh, you don't want it to end. Not fair. What classes do you guys have next mod? With Carly, image editing. Oh, that'll be good. That'll be a fun class. You just have one class, Lily? We have two classes. Critical thinking. Oh, that's right. Yeah, I remember you saying that before. Well, that'll be a good balance right there. Wait, but what about you, Marla? You have two classes too? Yeah. Oh, you're doing critical thinking right now? Oh, so you can let Lily know how that's going. Okay, Lily, two classes next mod, two next after, then capstone. Wow. You don't like it? Yeah, you know, something. I know. When I was taking classes, I always had those. It's always good when you kind of have a class that you like. If you have two classes, you have a class that you like, and maybe one that you don't like so much, because it balances each other out. Sometimes having two design classes together could be a challenge, depending on the class as well, too. So it's kind of hard. It's kind of hard to tell if you will kind of like a class, or maybe have more of a challenging time with the class too. So you never know. You might think, oh, you know, this class is going to be really easy, and then it turns out being really more challenging than you thought. I want you to think about thinking. Critical thinking. Yeah, sometimes it gets kind of, it makes you a well-rounded student. Let's just say that. One or two I don't really like. Okay, I just do it. I was never a paper person, like doing thesis and all that stuff, so I understand. You just wanted to complain. Hey, that's what we're here to listen. I know, I've been there. I've been in your shoes before. I did my undergrad and my graduate studies. And, you know, I know the pros and cons for sure. It's funny. All right, so this probably is going to be a shorter lecture, just kind of give you a heads up. We're going to go over your assessment for today, which is not a quiz. I kind of got confused the last time we were meeting and said it was a quiz, but that was the other class that I was teaching, so it's not a quiz. I think you guys will actually enjoy it, and I know you two probably have it completed, right, by now? I haven't had a chance to look at the work that you guys submitted other than what you showed in class. Okay, good. So just a few things just to let you know what's going on. Just make sure you get your work in before this Saturday by midnight for credit. I can't accept anything past that. And I just posted 2 announcements today, and I think it's about the hurricane, which I think is now downgraded to a tropical depression, if I'm correct. Okay. There's some people in the class that are in the areas, yeah, that could be affected. So I just posted to the announcements that the daily checkpoints for tomorrow and Saturday are open right now. Yay. So if you want to go ahead and take them, you can early. I had one student kind of email me about that situation because they were trying to get work done early so that if something were to happen, you know, electricity wise, they can just get it all done ahead of time, which is smart. So I opened that up for you guys, just a kind of a heads up. Alrighty, already did them for the DC for Saturday. So much I can. Oh, okay. So yeah, check that out. All right, so we're just gonna do a general symbols. Okay, doing Tetra Plus. Going to do just a general symbols overview. We really didn't work a lot in symbols or doing the 3D methods or anything like that. We kind of did that more so in the prerequisite classes that you had to have before this class. So I'm just going to do a quick review of those just so we kind of are, you know, fresh on what those options are. And then we'll go ahead and take a look at your assessment 4 and do a demo for that. All right, we kind of talked a little bit about symbols. Basically, it's a reusable art object that is stored in the symbols panel. We talked about how to create it. You can create a symbol once and then reuse it in infinite times without redrawing it. So that's kind of the nice thing about symbols. They are also great because they're linked. They are small in size and they're easily altered, and you can create them custom symbols. So the symbols, as we go forward here, let me stop sharing that. I'm going to go right into Illustrator. I'm going to do a new template. So symbols, if you don't have it up there on your palette, just go to Window, Symbols. And there probably are default symbols that are up here. We kind of, we already kind of looked at a few of these options in here, Open Symbols Library, you know, when you guys were creating some of your art. But know that these are in here as kind of pre-made symbols, but you can also upload symbols that you find online, and then you can also create symbols. And that way you create them is very easy. You just, you know, obviously. Yeah, let's make a really cool one. I'm going to do, let's see here. Let's do a star, but do a kind of freaky star here. Here, let me redo this here. Hold on. So this technique, hold on one second. I think somebody asked me a question. Is, I forget what it's actually called, and I apologize for not knowing this off the top of my head. It's a word for this, but it's right under your escape key. It's a little like swoosh. Looks like a little wave. If you select a shape and then you select that little button, and I can't remember what it's called, and if you can think of it, let me know. But it's a little swoosh right under the escape key, and you hold that down, that button, and then you move your cursor around. You can get these really cool patterns, you know, different shapes depending on how you pull out your selection. So let's say I want to make this a symbol. I think somebody was talking here. I'm sorry, I missed your, can you adjust the pre-made one? You know what, I think you can. Let me see here, that's a good question. So if I were to want to make a symbol out of this, I just select all group and then I just drag it into my symbols, and then I can name this, you know, whatever relative to what it is. I'm going to change it to graphic instead of movie. And dynamic versus static, that's just kind of like, you know, you can do a little bit more with the dynamic options, where static is kind of like, it is what it is. So I'm going to click OK. And then what's nice about this, I can delete this, but then if I select it and I drag out, I can create this, you know, this symbol can be usable, and we can alter this symbol too. If you just double click right on top, any changes that you make with this, let's say we give it a drop shadow. Okay. All we have to do is do the drop shadow after double clicking on that. Oops, not that. Do that again. Okay. And then click to the left on the upper bar there, and it adjusts it here, so it'll kind of change it. The pre-made ones, let's see, let's double click on this orange one. Yes, you can change the pre-made ones. You just double click on them, and then I think if you take the selection tool, you know, if you wanted to change the gradient, color, where's the gradient here? Let me get gradient. There's the gradient bar. Like say if I wanted this to be more red and white, we can change that. We can change, I think we can even change the vector points here. Yep. When you're done, you just click on the upper left corner here to exit out, and it should save it in there to change that option. I wonder if that actually saved. Let's see if it actually saves it here. Yep, it saves it. I thought the other one didn't save. So those are symbols. It's actually kind of a cool symbol right there. And I know you guys have played around with that probably before in past classes. I just wanted to bring that up because we didn't really touch upon that too much in this class. There's also 3D effects. And the Illustrator 3D effect controls the appearance of 3D objects with light, shading, and rotation. 2D shapes serve as the foundation for 3D objects. So in Illustrator, you have these 3 options under the 3D effects. You have extrude and bevel, revolve, and rotate. So there are 2 ways to create a 3D object by extruding or revolving. In addition, you can also rotate a 2D or 3D object in 3 dimensions. To apply or modify 3D effects for an existing 3D object, select the object and then double-click the effect in the appearance panel. So that's only if you have it's already a 3D object. So it's all about the X, Y, and Z axis when you're talking about the 3D effect. The extrude and bevel is basically kind of what is shown here. It's based on the X and the Y axis is pulling out. So let's take a look at that real quick here. Just something to think about, something to play around with too. You may never use this, but you just never know. So let's do a star again. And let's give it a color. And with the object selected, go up to Effect, and you have that 3D option here, and you have Extrude and Bevel, Revolve, and Rotate. So these 2 options are your 3D options. Rotate is what it is, it's just rotating. So if you hit Extrude and Bevel options, you will see this panel here pop up. Just hit Preview, and you'll see before you commit to your selection, you'll kind of see what's going on right now. You can choose a different axis, like say if you wanted to look at it from the front perspective, and it changes here as well. From the back, left. This is kind of all weird. So let's do off axis. You can kind of see the back side. If you had like a CD, here's one that's good, off axis left, where you have an actual front and back, it's a little easier to see. But it's all about this rotation, and you can actually click in here and rotate it yourself manually too, and it kind of changes the rotation. It changes the X and the Y and Z axis too. You can control the extrude depth as well. So this one's set at 50. Yeah, it is. You can go way far or smaller and play around with that. This is if you want it to look like a hollow shape instead of a filled shape. Your cap can be different. The bevel can be different. Like say if you wanted the bevel to be classic, and you can change the height of the bevel as well. You have a complex bevel. It's kind of cool. It's almost like, think about wood when you bevel wood. There's different designs and patterns and stuff that you can kind of play around with. We sometimes forget about these options too. All round, so some really cool jaggy, some really cool things in there. And then the height is basically the height of the bevel. I know. Yeah, or that too. Yeah, cardboard, like a laser cut cardboard. Mm-hmm. And this option here is basically bevel extent out. So bevel is added to the original object. And then this is the subtracted from the original object. So it's kind of just extruding it out a little bit. You also have a surface. So this is a plastic shading on here now. You can do wireframe, no shading, or diffuse shading. Bevel glass on an old photo. Well, I would think if you had a photo, let's place a photo in here. And let me see if I can find a photo of something. Like say if you had this woman picture here. Okay, let's just say this is an old-fashioned photo, but it's not really. And you want it to look like glass, you know, the whole thing glass or the actual face? Because I'm not sure if you can do that, but we'll see her. The whole thing, almost like it's set into a glass frame. Okay. Well, I think that some of these options you could definitely check out. You might want to do something where that kind of looks interesting. You might have a shine over top, like a sheen over top of the photo, so it almost looks like a reflection. Trying to see, it's kind of the classic bevel here. Maybe take it down a little bit. Oops. Let's do 15 and see. This kind of just gives the bevel and extrude options. There's more options here too, so you can actually direct the shading of the piece. This isn't affecting the photo though, it's just affecting the frame. Yeah, you could do the blend tool, yep. There you go. So you're just affecting the frame itself, the actual bevel. So you could probably try to play around with that. I'm not sure if that would be something that you're interested in. Let me just show you real quick here, the 3D option, revolve. So we just showed the extrude and bevel. Let's look at revolve. Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, you could try to do that. I would say, yeah, you could try to do some type of a frame around that. I don't know. You know, play around with it and see what it looks like. This is interesting because what this does is revolves the object around itself. So if you have a full shape like that, that will revolve itself around the entire shape. But if I had half of this shape, so let me cut half of this shape. Oh, let me see my scissors tool. Let me cut this in half. Let me show you what I'm talking about here. And make sure it's a closed shape. This is what you, when you do like a wine bottle label, you do the wine bottles like this. You do half of the bottle. And then you can play around with the wine bottle. It's kind of hard to see here because it's a star, but if you had, let me see if I can do a wine bottle real quick. It's going to be real rudimentary. Oops. And then oops, I went 360. Custom rotation, something's off here and I'm not quite sure what's. Left edge. Yeah, see, this isn't, it shouldn't be doing this. This is wrapping around the whole thing. Yeah, it should mimic it. I'm not sure why this is, never had this problem before. Whoa, yeah, we're not playing with that. It should wrap around the other way. For some reason, it's going the other direction on my other axis. Off axis. Yeah, it's so weird. Okay. Huh. That's really strange. It should wrap around so that it looks like a bottle rather than what you just saw, like a cylinder. I'm not quite sure what's going on here. I don't usually have this problem, so. Yeah, exactly. You know what, it's like one of the things, we don't really use this that often. It's just something that, you know, you need to try. But this should work. I'm not quite sure why. It's a closed shape. It's closed. It just baffles me because I've done this a million times, like just showing students, and it works every time. I've never had this issue before. So that's why I'm like baffled right now. Let me try to flip this. I don't think this is actually gonna work, but. It's how it's revolving. There we go. One little change like that, right? Drives you crazy. So the art has to be, the axis has to be flat, almost like justify left, where you have the flat part on the left, so it's on the axis. Well, if you think about it, that kind of makes sense. I never like thought of it that way. So yeah, there we go. We just learned something new. But you can create objects. Yeah, you can create objects like this. Just kind of have to keep in mind the X and Y coordinates. Or use the right edge. There you go. That is driving me nuts. I'm glad I figured that out. All right. See, yeah, we do. I'm always learning. I call myself a life learner. The rotate option, and when I didn't get to that yet, is just really what it is. So object 3D rotate. It's just basically you're rotating this in a different perspective. So if I were to do the 3D again, and then I went up to effects 3D rotate, I can apply the new effect, and I can rotate this in a different perspective here. Okay. Any questions about that? Sorry, I got a little stuck there. Figured it out though. It is the offset. Yep. It's all about the axis. Axis. Is that right? Yep. All right. So this is about the axis, Z axis, the Y axis, and this is the Z axis. So the rotates the Z. So it's just telling you what the axis is kind of based off of. That's probably why I was having an issue. There you go. All right. So just a little review there, just the things to think about that we never really dug too deep in from the last 4 weeks that I wanted to just kind of remind you guys of that's available in Illustrator, and you can play around with it. All right, let's go to the assessment 4. I know you guys have finished this. I'm going to read through this for those of you who have not. You can read through the background information here. This is basically what we're going to be doing is playing around with filters and effects with your with your actual project that you're finalizing this week. Excuse me. Actually, let me read through this because I think this is kind of important information, so kind of bear with me here. All right, so in Illustrator Effects menu, you can find a list of effects that you can apply to objects and text to change its characteristics and appearance. You can also apply effects to a group or a whole layer. Note CS3 and earlier versions of Illustrator included filters. Over time, they were removed, and now designers only have special effects to use. With the introduction of HTML5, the web is now able to handle vector art, and Illustrator has put filters back in for SVG graphics. Photoshop will still have filters included. A filter will permanently modify an object or layer, but with an effect, the properties can be removed or edited. If you apply an effect to a vector object and want to access any of the new points, you will have to first expand that object. So object expand. Some objects with effects applied may need to be expanded in order to complete certain commands and functions, like some 3D rendering and placing in the perspective tool. You will see an error message telling you to expand the object if needed. Any effect that is applied will show up as FX in the appearance menu. You can see it down here. From there, it can be deleted, edited, moved, or duplicated, and added as a part of a graphic style. You can turn the visibility off or on in the appearance panel if you want to compare the changes. So you can see it here as the panel. The FX is next to the inner glow on this example here, and then you have all of your Illustrator effects on the right-hand side here under Effect. The Effects menu includes both Illustrator effects and Photoshop effects. The Illustrator effects are vector effects. These can only be applied to vector objects or to the fill or stroke of a bitmap object in the Appearance panel. Some are exceptions to this, like 3D effects, warp effects, transform effects, drop shadows, feather, inner glow, and outer glow. The Photoshop effects are raster effects. They can be applied to either vector or bitmap objects. You will know if an effect cannot be applied to your object if it is grayed out in the drop-down menu. So for your final assessment, you're going to apply 3 or more special effects to your revised portfolio illustration. Look through a list of effects and test out a few to see which ones would it be applicable to your illustration components and style. Remember that effects can be applied to text as well as objects and to groups or entire layers for consistent look. You can choose one that will either make drastic changes or one or ones that are more subtle enhancements. Keep in mind that you may need to experiment with the settings of the specific effects to get a result that you like. So the assignment instructions are to save a copy of the final version of your vector illustration. So you should have the original one and then save as week 4 assignment. Apply at least 3 of your chosen effects to the design. Look at the design with the effects turned on and off and evaluate if you think they improve the illustration or not, and in what way. Then you are to write a paragraph of your evaluation, 75 words minimum, and save it as a Word document. You're going to save your file as the assessment4 first and last name.ai. Save your evaluation as a doc file name such as that. Submit the Illustrator file and the Word document for grading. Note, if you feel like the effects have improved your illustration, you may use this version for your Behance upload instead of the one from assignment 4. See Behance requirements in week 4 assignment. So if you go through this, you really like it, you can swap it out with your assignment 4 Behance submission. Okay, you guys, I'm kind of missing out here. It says pouring when printing is different than seeing it on the screen. Okay. Or have both, yes. Well, yeah, you can have both. That's true. Any questions about that? I actually have some samples here. Oh, you put both too? Okay. Here's some examples. And I know we saw some of these in the past week, so we can see how they did their changes here. This is the paragraph of what they did, and then the effects created here. There's an inner glow here, and she's just commenting about the line in here, and then details on the tree with a roughen effect would be nice to see there. Oh, okay. I gotcha, Lily. I'm a little behind there. Sorry. I need some wine. All right, sample 2 is, let me open that up. This is the other one that we were kind of looking at before. Looks like an outer glow. The warp, which doesn't seem the best option, but glow onto the actual type and illustration. Outer glow. No, do you guys have any questions about what is required here? Pretty straightforward. Okay. So going back to my illustration that actually I started doing this the last time we were doing the lecture. I added a sponge effect. So I opened up my appearance. I added a sponge effect here when we were talking the last time. And so it's really simple. All you have to do, if you wanted to apply this, notice how it's taking a while here. Say to the bird as well, you know, all I would need to do, because I just have it on my background, all I would need to do is select the bird in my layer, go up to effect, effect library, and I can kind of go through. I don't know if you guys can see this. Let me see if you guys can see this here. Hold on. Where is it? Here we go. The bird. Give you the bird. All right, so you can kind of play around with this. Take a look at each of these, color pencil, and you can, you know, each time you click on one of these options, you have your presets to the right kind of change. Some of these you might not be able to see. Here's film grain, fresco. Some of these might be not as good for certain reasons, but plastic wrap, rough pastels, smudge stick, sponge. I think I did the sponge on the background, you know, but maybe this time I do like a different sponge effect where it's a little bigger, maybe darker, smoother. I don't know. Let's see what that looks like. Oh, lost you guys. Sorry. What do you guys think? Oops. Kind of makes it more unified looking, right? Oh, okay. Poster effect. Okay. Yeah, some of it's like real subtle, and that's okay. Excuse me. Let's say you wanted to adjust this. You just click on the layer that you're working on, go into your appearance panel, and just double click on your FX. And you can adjust this here. So say we wanted to make it a little bit smoother, click OK, and it would update it. Okay. Other effects, here's the tree. Yeah, it makes the bird look like it's not real compared to the others. Yeah. Well, it might be something that I can change. I just wanted to show you here. There's also brush strokes. His chicken pie. Angled strokes, crosshairs. Like some of these, you may not be able to tell. This one's kind of cool, splattered. Bird box. This one's kind of neat because it has like those edges on there. Kind of create some really cool edge working there. Let's click OK and see what that looks like. Kind of gives it a glow. I'm not sure if I like that. So say if I didn't like that, all I needed to do was select it, actually delete it here, and just drag it down to the trash can, and there it is. I kind of didn't like the glow it had around there. Let's go up to effects and let's look at the other, let's maybe texture. Is that what I had? Texture, no, green. There's stained glass, patchwork. Get some neat things. It's way contrasty. So just kind of, it's like fun. I think just playing around with some of these. There's also other options in here, black and white options. There's metal, chrome, crayon, graphic pen, halftone dots. I'm gonna try this one. So right now I have one sponge, but in two different presets placed in there. And now I have this green in there. So I'm getting all kinds of different effects here. Let's try. I like the caricature. It looked like, you know what it looks like? It looks like it looks like canvas or something. It's like very texturized. Linen paper, there you go. Let's apply that there too. And I can also do it to the type as well. I might have to outline it first though. Create outlines and then, bless me, sorry. I don't see it and it's probably because it's dark. So let's go up to effects. Thank you. Yeah, this is actually a fun assessment. You can really do some really neat things. I don't know. Oh, this one you can't really see real good because it's dark. So let's see if maybe something up here. Film grain, rough pastels. There's sponge, there's the sponge effect. We can do something like that where it's a little spongier looking, kind of similar to the background. Unifies it a little bit better, but it's very subtle. Stained glass. There we go. Looks kind of more unified there. I don't know. Maybe I'll change this whole guy. Maybe I'll be different. Let's see. Well, can we find something that looks a little bit more interesting? So just kind of playing around with it. Some of these things are the neon. Yeah, there you go. Younger glass effects, ocean ripple. That might be kind of cool. Outer glow. Let's see what texture again. I don't know, you guys. I kind of like, sure what I like here. Like the sponge, because you can kind of see it. So, you know, and it might be different for yours because your object might be, mine's so flat, that's just taking it from one color. Crosshatch. Let's just try something really different here. Like this one. Bevel it. That's kind of cool. Kind of gives it a little gradient there too. So play around with it, see what you can do, and have fun with it. There's all kinds of different effects down here you can try to, not just in the effect gallery. If you wanted to, say, put a drop shadow on this, you can do so by going to Stylize Drop Shadow. And this isn't really, well, it's an effect, but it's not under the effect gallery. So just kind of know the differences there. Screen, let's see, overlay. There's different types of blend modes here. Just put a normal one on there. Take the opacity down. We'll do like 35. It's taking forever. There we go. You can choose a color too. Doesn't have to be black. We'll just put black for now. Yeah, it's kind of hard to see because it's, let me zoom in here. It's putting these white, oops. It's putting these white areas in here, which I didn't notice before. It's kind of weird. Oh, I got the drop shadow in there. Kind of weird. Okay. Not sure if I like the drop shadow, but whatever. I'll change it. I just deleted it. But there's other things in here that you can check out too. So there's brush strokes, blur. You know, you can do a blur on a background. There's sketching, stylized glowing edges. Let's try glowing edges here. So this one would be, okay, this is affecting the actual edges inside the FX. So it's not necessarily the type, so I'm going to cancel that out. I don't really want that to happen. Let's do maybe, let's just do, well, no, we can't do that because it has an effect on it too. Let me take the effect off the type. Did I have a sponge on that? There we go. Let's just do glowing edges here again. There we go. And then we can kind of smooth it out and play around with the intensity. Can't see it too well here just because it's not, it's, you know, it's on type. Edge brightness. Definitely different than, let me toss this out here. Let me go up here to 3D, sorry, effects gallery. Go to the glowing edges here. Yeah, see it's still affecting that. There we go. Not sure why it's not feathering out. It's just different on type. Let me try it on here real quick. Now this has an effect on it too, so this is gonna look different. Yeah, see how different that looks? All right, Marla, thank you. Sorry I didn't get to see your comment there. You have a great end of this mod, Marla, and good luck to you going forward. It's great to have you in class. If you're still here, I can't, let me see. Oh yeah, you're still here. So, you know, basically just play around with the effects, have at least 3 that you're applying to this. And it could be as subtle as what you see in the background that I did. Just make sure it works well for your actual, you know, illustration. If it's not working well, you know, you can hide it, you know, take a look at the effects in the appearance panel, hide it and see if you like that effect or not. And then what you're gonna do is just save it. When you're done, you're gonna just save it as an AI file. So you will be uploading your AI file so that I can see that you're using these filters in your layers. And then don't forget to write the paragraph kind of explaining you know, kind of evaluating what you have done. So you're kind of writing that out to say, you know, kind of what you did for this assessment. Any questions about that? Pretty straightforward there. Nope. Okay. I think this is my last slide. Let me see. Oh yeah. Yep, that's my last slide. This is pretty much all I have for you tonight. If you want to go over anything, show anything, this would be a great time to do it. I know Marla's leaving. So if you have anything you want us to look at or want to see anything, let me know. This is a pretty fun assessment that you could see how the effects really kind of may transform your concept to the next level. All right. Well, we're going to wrap it up then. Kind of check out your daily checkpoints that you may get done early, and we'll just call it a class then, huh? Awesome. All right. Well, it's great to see you guys. I'm teaching a 105. I'm teaching DES 105 next mod, so I won't see you guys. But you know, I'm gonna post a final farewell in announcements tomorrow, which will have some links to kind of keep in touch with me. Yeah. So even though this class is over, it doesn't mean that you can just never see me again. We can all kind of stay in touch. Okay. All right. It was great to have you, Lily. Good luck with all your animals, your little doggies. And I'm excited to see kind of all your final work in this class, everything you guys have been working on. Hopefully you guys finish strong here. All right. Have a great night. Great end of this final week, and I'll be kind of seeing you guys on discussions. Finish strong, that's right. All right, take care. All right, bye-bye.